yogis, welcome to the third in our series of practices for building upper body strength. This practice is going to concentrate on forearm balance and also side forearm balance. So we'll need to strengthen up and open up the sides of the body. We were working particularly with the obliques, which are your, and we're concerned with the deep internal oblique muscles, not the external ones really. We're going to begin, and it's not going to be, you shouldn't need any props, it's not going to be a very long video, it's not going to be like a flow, like a practice. It's going to be just opening everything up and practicing your forearm plank in a few different versions. So you're going to begin lying down on your back so that we can open up the whole of the sides of the body. So we're going to do banana pose. So you're going to walk your feet, your legs around to the left. I'm going to hook my right ankle on top of my left. Take your arms overhead, and then you're just going to ease yourself so that you're making, I'm going to hold my right wrist and I'm making like a C shape, like a banana shape. And the most important thing is not how much of a C shape you make, but keeping both hips equally weighted down onto the floor, having your hands resting on the floor and both shoulders resting on the floor. And you're just going to breathe and use this pose. It's a fairly passive pose. You don't need to, really push yourself in this pose. We're going to use it as our way of slowing everything down as you start your practice off. Noticing what's going on in your body, how this right side of your body feels in this position. Where can you feel any tightness, any resistance? And what can you do to soften? Start to feel your breath a little bit more, be more aware of your breath. Breathing in and out through your nose. And you may find that there's a little bit more space opened up. You can just come a little bit deeper. Just a couple more breaths. And then bringing yourself back to the center of your mat and walking your legs and your feet over to the right, and your head and shoulders and your arms over to the right, holding the left wrist with your right hand, and again keeping both hips down, seeing what this side feels compared to the other. Drop into your breath again, drop into the stillness, setting the tone for your little short practice. Noticing where you feel tight. So forearm plank is core work as well as upper body strength. So we're going to spend a little bit of time just strengthening up the core, particularly the sides of the core. So walk yourself back, and then from here you're going to take your legs straight up and push the heels of your feet straight up towards the ceiling. Arms are down by your sides, and if it's too much in your hamstrings, you can just have your knees bent and do it from there. And then from here, big breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to engage your core. So ribs down, pelvic points up, navel pressing down into the floor. You're trying to stack your heels over your hips, and as you exhale, it's going to be a little lift, and I'm squeezing the very lowest part of my abdominals to make this tiny movement. So it's just a really tiny lift away from the floor. And you're also seeing if you can avoid really swinging your shins back, because then it's just the movement of the legs that is lifting your hips away from the floor. If you think about pushing your heels straight up, and you can pause and do a few more of those if you feel that that's really one of the core movements that works for you. I really like that one because it's quite hard to get those muscles down there. And then another big breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to reach up. So this time, you're going to take your right middle finger towards your left little toe and then switch. And that counts as 1. So we're going to do 10. Big breath in, and as you exhale, reach. Last one, and bending your knees, and then from here, keeping your knees stacked over your hips and interlacing your hands behind your back. Take a big breath in, push your lower back into the floor as you exhale, and bring your right elbow over to the left and straighten your right leg, and then back to center and switch. So you're pressing your head back into your hands and lifting with your chest. So your gaze is more upwards. But you're trying to keep your knees over your hips rather than pulling your knee right in, because then you don't use the core anywhere near as much. And you can keep going with these a little bit longer. And then for the last one, you're going to bring your left knee and your right elbow to touch, and you're going to squeeze for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Bring your left elbow to your right knee, and again squeeze for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm pressing my elbow and my knee into one another, and then as a little release, just lifting your hips up, little bridge pose. And then rolling down and rolling up. So you're going to come all the way up, and then come to a kneeling position. So you can stay facing the same way that you were before, and you're going to open your elbows out, pull your ribs in so you're not arching into your lower back. See if you can keep your elbows level with your shoulders, and then so your inhale, you're going to pull your elbows back, and your exhale, you're going to bring your elbows together and you're going to push your elbows into one another. Inhale, exhale, push. Inhale and press. Inhale, press them together. Inhale, exhale, push them together. So this really builds strength. Squeeze. Inhale, squeeze, and squeeze. Release. You're going to take a brick, and this can be a stack of this can be a stack of books or anything else that you want to use for that. And then you're going to bend your elbows and you're going to start to squeeze the brick. And pretty soon, you might be able to see it, I don't know, your elbows or your arms are going to start to shake, okay? So you're really pressing and as if you're trying to make the brick smaller, relaxing your shoulders. So if you can keep your elbows up at hip height and just keep squeezing, squeezing for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. And then just do some little shoulder shrugs. Inhale, lift your shoulders up towards your ears. Exhale, slide them back and down. And then from here, just going to come back to your seat. And you're going to take your hands back behind you and bend your knees. And you're just going to do little tricep dips. So you're going to come down and straighten, down and straighten, down and straighten, down, straighten, down, straighten, down, straighten, down, straighten. And you can do little dips here. And you keep squeezing your elbows towards one another. And then come up and down, up and down, up and down, up, one more and down and back up. Brilliant. Shake out your wrists. And then from here, I'm going to come into our first plank pose. So when you used the brick before, you can use the brick and make like an L shape with your hand and your thumbs on each side, and you can squeeze the brick. If your elbows don't splay out when you try this forearm plank, then you can do it without the brick. So you just hands down here. Or if you really find that it's difficult to support yourself on your forearms, then interlace your fingers. And if you interlace your fingers, then in fact we can do this, all of us can do this. So you're going to hold opposite elbows to get the position of your elbows and then extend your arms out, okay? So if you're going to use the brick, you can have the brick here like this, or you can clasp your hands, or you can not use the brick, okay? So if you're not using the brick, you're going to take your your middle fingers, so they're pointing straight forward, and really push down through your middle fingers. Push the floor away with your elbows and hug as if you're trying to roll onto the inner edge of your forearms. And then from here, you're going to take one leg back behind you. So your feet are going to end up being hip width apart. So just bear that in mind now. And you're going to really engage the leg, the muscles on the leg. And then from here, you're going to take the other foot back. And then you're going to drop your tailbone down towards your heels. Really push your heels back and squeeze your legs like mad. Keep pushing down through these middle fingers, hugging your arms in towards one another, pushing the floor away, and then you're going to see if you can pull your ribs down, lift your pelvic points up, pull your navel up, and you're using your core as well to keep you in this position. Extending through the back of your neck, so you're not crunching up the back of your neck, you're not bending your head down, because then you lose the contraction of your abdominals. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees down. Sit back onto your heels, and then you're going to walk your arms around to the right and stretch out the whole right side of your torso again. And then walk your arms across to the left. Little stretch again there. And then back. And then set up again for your forearm plank. I'm going to clasp my hands for this one because we're going to be moving in this one, so it's a little bit more challenging. So from here, straightening your legs again, finding that same shape. So you're pushing the floor away with your elbows and you're drawing your chest forwards and then tailbone down, and really work your legs. Make sure your feet are definitely hip width apart. So from here, you're going to drop your hips and back and over to the right and back left and back, right and back, left and back, right and back for 1 more, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And then knees down, sit back into your child's pose. And again, walk your hands across to the left. Let your heart rate come back down. And then over through centre, across to the right. Here we're going to move into side forearm plank. So I'm just going to turn around this way so that you can see. In fact, no, stay this way. So you're going to take your the side of your body onto the floor. So I'm going to start on my right side, and you're going to take your forearm at right angles, and you're going to stack your feet, and you're going to you can bring this left foot in front of you for support, or you can stack your feet. So I'm going to do it with my feet stacked, and I'm going to lift up onto this right forearm. Left hand is going to be on my hip. So this will be my lift, is my exhale. Inhale, dip and lift, dip and lift, dip and lift, dip. So we're going for 10, dip, lift, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Slowly lower down. So roll over to the other side. Bring your left forearm. So remember, you can stack this right foot in front, or you can stack your feet like I'm doing. And then you're going to lift your hips up, and I'm really squeezing and cinching in around my waist. Okay, so inhale, dip, and exhale, lift and crunch, little crunch there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, lifting as high as you can, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Slowly lower down, and then from here roll back onto the first side, and gonna have the same setup position, but just moving this bottom foot back a little bit, and then your top leg is going to come in front. So you're going to pick up, yeah, and then this top hand comes to the back of my skull. So this will be your inhale, and as you exhale, you're going to pivot. So you might need to just arrange the position of your feet. So you bring your elbows towards one another. Inhale and exhale. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So I'm going to come onto my knees, and I'm going to take my left foot in towards my right thigh. No, I'm not. I'm going to take my right foot in towards my left thigh, and then from here I'm going to reach my left arm out and reach my right arm alongside my ear. And then inhale, come up. And then we're going to go and do the other side. So coming onto my left forearm, bringing my top foot in front and picking up. Okay, so I might need to just adjust my feet once I do the first one. So this will be the inhale. Exhale, so I'm just going to adjust the position of my feet. Inhale and exhale for 2, for 3, for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Again, knees down, sit back. And this time, it'll bring my left foot into my right leg. Right arm extends out, left arm lifts, and come into a side stretch. And then inhale, come up. And from here, we're just going to finish our practice with some, or one of what I think is the best shoulder openers. So we'll be doing lots of movements like this, really working across here as well as the core and the legs. So we're just going to stretch out the front of the chest. So from here, I'm going to come down onto your belly. I'm just going to shift across this way a little bit. I'm going to extend my right arm out to the right, and then I'm going to come onto the right side of my face, and then I'm going to roll towards this right arm. So, see, you'll see better on the other side, but just see if you can keep this extended arm level with your shoulder, not let it pull down towards your hip. And if it's too much, you can bend your knees, or you can have your legs straight and your feet stacked, or you may even be able to take this top leg and bring the sole of your foot down to the floor, and maybe even the bottom leg as well. So that you're sort of rolling the back of your pelvis towards the floor. And you can even take this arm back behind you. So you're just getting a little bit more and a little bit more of a deeper stretch into the front of the right shoulder. And you can stay here for as long as you feel as though you need as a counter pose for the work that you've done. And when you're ready, rolling back onto your belly, extending your left arm out, and you'll see it a little bit better now. I'm going to roll, and what tends to happen if you tighten your shoulders is your body will try and compensate by allowing this arm to slide back down. So keep it level with your shoulder, keep your head on the floor. So remember, you can bend your elbows if you need to, or stacking your feet, or maybe bringing one foot down to the floor, and maybe even bringing 2 feet down, and just taking this arm around you, back. Some people even like to reach for their fingers, but I'm not going to do that today. That's a little bit too much. It depends how open you are in your shoulders. And then slowly release and come all the way onto your back. And just take a few moments there. Just allow the heat, the circulation that you'll be able to feel through your arms when you practice. Just letting yourself feel whatever is there, watching it as it slowly begins to dissipate as you relax. And spending as long as you can in Shavasana. It's the most important pose of your practice, and often it's really tempting to skip it and just kind of jump back into your day and carry on. But it's so important to allow yourself this time at the end to be still and allow your body to absorb all the changes that you've made, the shifts that have taken place, and just rest. stomach rumbling. And when you're ready, just going to wiggle out your fingers, your toes, your arms maybe over the crown of your head, roll your knees in and roll to the side. And then when you're ready again, pressing down into your hands and bringing yourself back to a seat. So thank you again, once again, for allowing me to be your guide, and I hope that you can keep practicing that pose. It isn't an easy pose at all. It is going to be challenging, but it is one of the most effective ways of strengthening not just your upper body but your core as well, and particularly these side bits, these love handles that we all would like to get rid of. So thank you again, and I'll see you on the next video.